Hi friends, it's Allie here with the Turtle Trunk, and in today's video I'm going to show you how to crochet this cute little Amigurumi Leek. If you're following along with the Pregnancy Progress Project, this is week 38 when baby is about the same size as a leek. I hope you guys enjoy this tutorial. Now let's get started. For today's tutorial you will need medium weight yarn in the colors white, light green, and dark green, a 4mm or G hook, polyfill stuffing, a yarn needle, scissors, and stitch marker, and optional supplies include 2 9mm black safety eyes and black crochet thread. So I'm going to start with my white yarn and I'm going to begin with a magic circle. And then I'm going to secure that with a chain 1. And then inside the circle I'm going to work 7 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I'm going to take this short tail end here and pull that tight. So at the end of round 1, our stitch count is at 7. So starting off with round 2, we're going straight into that first stitch that we worked of the last round. We're not going to be joining at the end of each round. We're just going to go straight into that next stitch. So in the first stitch from the last round, I'm going to work 2 single crochets. So that's 1. I'm going to grab my stitch marker and mark that stitch so I don't lose my spot. And then I'm going to work a second single crochet into the same stitch. And then I'm going to work 2 single crochets into the next stitch and just repeat that around for round 2. So working 2 single crochets into each stitch around. So at the end of round 2, our stitch count is now at 14. So again, going straight into that first stitch of the round, I'm going to work 1 single crochet. Put my stitch marker back. And then going into the second stitch, I'm going to work 2 single crochets. And then I'm going to work 1 single crochet into the next stitch and 2 single crochets into the next stitch. I'm going to repeat that around for round 3. 1 single crochet into the next stitch, 2 single crochets into the next stitch. And at the end of round 3, our stitch count is now at 21. And now for round 4, I'm just going to work 1 single crochet into the first stitch. And I'm going to work 1 single crochet into every stitch around. So 1 single crochet into every stitch around. And I'm going to repeat that all the way to the end of round 18. So for rounds 4 all the way through 18, we're just going to work 1 single crochet into each stitch around. So at the end of each round, our stitch count is going to remain at 21. So I'm just going to continue around doing that, and I'll catch up with you guys at the end of round 18. So I'm just coming up to the end of round 18, and I have 1 stitch left. So on this last stitch, instead of finishing off with my white yarn, I am going to change to my light green color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to insert my hook into that last stitch, pull up a loop, and then before I finish that last pull through, I'm going to drop my white yarn. I'm going to grab my light green, and grab my light green, put it around my hook, and do the final pull through with the light green. So now I've dropped my white, and now I'm going to carry on with the light green. So now we can actually cut off the white, because we are done with that. So now we've reached the end of round 18, so our stitch count is still at 21. And we're just going to continue on working one single crochet into each stitch around, but now we're going to carry on with our light green. So we're going to work one single crochet into that first stitch. This is for row 19 now. And so for rows 19 all the way to 25, we're just going to work one single crochet into each stitch around again. So just going to carry on one single crochet into each stitch around, so our stitch count is going to remain at 21. And we're just going to repeat this, working with our light green yarn all the way to the end of round 25, and then we're going to switch to our dark green. So I'm just going to carry on, and I'm going to catch up with you guys at the end of round 25, and we're going to change our color again. So I'm coming up to the end of round 25 and I have one stitch left. So I'm going to change the color now to the dark green. So I'm going to insert my hook into that last stitch, pull up a loop, drop my light green yarn, and now I'm going to grab my dark green yarn. I'm going to wrap that around my hook and pull through with the dark green. So now I've dropped the light green and now am working with the dark green. So we can cut off the light green yarn. So at the end of round 25, our stitch count is still at 21. For round 26, we're going to start off with one single crochet into the first stitch. And before we move on with the rest of this round, I'm going to stop here, and now I'm going to add the face to my leek. So I have my safety eyes and their backings, and then my black crochet thread and my yarn needle. So I'm just going to turn this around so the opposite side of what we're starting and stopping each round. I'm going to go to the other side, and then you can add your eyes and your mouth wherever you want. I stopped here so that I can add it onto the white part, because the taller we get, the harder it is to work into the lower rounds. So I think I'm going to add mine just below the green part, and usually I like to put mine about 4 stitches apart, but I'm going to put my eyes there first, leave the backings off for now, put the smile on, and make sure I have everything where I want it before I secure it. So I have my eyes there. I think that might be too close together. We'll see. And I just do a V shape right in between. So I'm going to go through the back beside one of the eyes. Go. Down one stitch and into the center, and then back up beside the other eye, and then back down in the center again. So it just has a little V shape, and that looks pretty good to me. So I'm going to flip this inside out and just secure my thread with a couple double knots. Make sure you don't pull it too tightly, or else the thread will hide in between the stitches. So you just want to make sure that your knot isn't too tight. Okay, I'm going to cut the excess thread and then put the backings on my safety eyes. All right. So there's our little face. So now I'm going to carry on with round 26. So for round 26 all through round 29, again, we're just going to work one single crochet into each stitch around, keeping our stitch count at 21. So I'm going to carry on, and I'm going to catch up with you guys at the end of round 29. So I just finished round 29, and at the end of round 29, our stitch count is still at 21. And now for round 30, we are going to start making the leaves that come out of the top of a leek. So to do so, we are going to start by working in the front loop only of our stitch. So if you can see here, if you look at the top of your stitch, it makes a little V shape, and the back strand is going to be our back loop only, and then the front strand is the front loop. So if we are going to work in the front loop only, we're going to insert our hook, working only in that front strand. I'm going to make a single crochet. Let's replace my stitch marker there. And we're going to do that for the first 6 stitches. We're going to work 1 single crochet in the front loop only of the first 6 stitches. So there we had 1, here's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there we go. We work 6 single crochets in the front loop only. I'm going to chain 1 and turn. And then working in both loops again, we are going to single crochet in each stitch across. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, chain 1 and turn, and we're just going to single crochet in each stitch across again, and we're going to do that for a total of 9 rows. So this is row 3. So all the way to the end of row 9. We're counting that first one we did, so that was technically round 30. So if you want to keep counting like that, you can, but just we're going to work the 6 stitches across for a total of 9 rows. So I'm just going to carry on with that. This is row 4. And I'm going to catch up with you guys at the end of row 9. Up to the end of row 9. So here we go. If you want, you can keep going and making it longer. You just want to make sure you end on a odd numbered row so that we finish on the opposite end of where we started. Because what we're going to do now is we're going to chain 1, and we're going to just work 1 single crochet into each row down to get us back to the bottom here. So since we worked 9 rows, that means we need 9 single crochets down. So working into that first row, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So now we're at the bottom again. And working back around, so this would have been round 29 down here. So again, we are going to work in the front loop only. So we're going to skip the next stitch right there. So this would have been the 7th stitch of round 30. We're going to skip that one, go on to the next one, and again work in the front loop only, and work 6 single crochets across in the front loop only. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Chain 1 and turn. And we're just going to repeat what we did with this first leaf. So just work 1 single crochet into each stitch across for a total of 6 stitches. Five, 6. Chain 1 and turn, and just repeat for a total of 9 rows again. just coming up to the end of the 9th row. So again, like we did with the other leaf, I'm going to chain 1 and work 1 single crochet into each row down. So that's a total of 9 single crochets down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Now we're back at the bottom. We're going to skip the next stitch and then working into the front loop only. Single crochet in the next 6 stitches in the front loops only. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So there should only be 1 stitch left at the end of this round, and that's fine because we're going to be skipping that one at the end. So now we're just going to repeat what we've been doing with the leaves. Chain 1 and turn, and for a total of 9 rows, just work 1 single crochet into each stitch across, chain 1 and turn. Coming up to the end of the 9th row, and just like the other ones, we're going to chain 1 and work 1 single crochet into each of the rows down. Okay, so now we're back at the bottom. And I'm just going to slip stitch into that very last stitch. And now before we move on, I'm going to stop here and stuff the leek because now we're going to go back into the back loops and close up that hole. So before we do that, we want to close up the leek. So just grab some of your polyfill stuffing and fill it up. You can fill yours up as much as you want. The more stuffing you add, the stiffer it will be. The less you add, the squishier it will be. So you can add as much or as little as you'd like. Okay, so I have as much as I want to add. So now we are going to working in the back loops only. So the loops that we left behind, there should be 21 of them. So we are going to start decreasing. So into the very first back loop, we're going to work 1 single crochet. You can mark that first stitch with your stitch marker if you'd like. And then we're going to single crochet 2 together. single crochet in the next stitch, and single crochet 2 together in the next. And we're just going to repeat that around. 1 single crochet to the next stitch, then single crochet 2 together. When you get to the end, your stitch count should now be at 14, and as you can see, our hole is slowly getting smaller. I'm going to remove my stitch marker. And now we're going to single crochet 2 together in the first 2. And now we're working in both loops again. So in the first 2 stitches, we single crochet 2 together, and we're just going to repeat that all the way around. So that'll be a total of 7 times single crochet 2 together. And now we should have only 7 stitches left. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie off my yarn, leaving about a 6-inch tail. So grab my scissors. I'm just going to slip stitch into the next stitch. Chain 1, tie off, leaving about 6 inches, enough to weave in and pull through all these stitches. Grab your yarn needle and thread your yarn through it. And we're just going to close up the small hole that's left in at the top. To do so, you're just going to weave your yarn through those last 7 stitches. And then just pull tight. And just close up that hole, and then we can just secure that with a couple knots. Oops. Once you have it as secured as you want, we'll just weave our end through the top, and you can just hide your end inside. Okay, I'm just going to weave it in a few times and then hide the end inside. And there we go. There's our little leek. Thank you so much for following along, and I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial. If you're not already subscribed to my channel, I'd love to have you a part of the Turtle Trunk family. You can find this pattern and many more free patterns on my blog, whoshomemade.com. Also be sure to follow me on Facebook and Instagram, and tag me in your photos so I can see your finished turtle trunk creations. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.